And we are live, and I
We
am
are
back.
live.
I am
Oh,
back with Amanda Steadman, the wonderful Amanda Steadman, and today I'm actually looking forward to this topic, the fun guide to dealing with nonsense. So there's a lot out there, a lot that says sometimes that we have to take life very seriously, and things can get you down, and it's very easy to get taken down sometimes. Speaking of which, it looks like Amanda's been taken down. She's been absolutely. She has exited the studio just after the start. So there you go. There's a bit of fun for you. We can sometimes vanish off into the ether. We never know what's going to happen to us when these mad things happen, these mad things. So there you go, my Jedi friends. You never know what's going to happen. You might get to swipe left. So let's start by saying that working with energy, especially the waking up process, there's a lot of serious stuff going on at the moment, especially for people that are light workers, healers, empaths. So it's heavy duty stuff. Now, that is why it is so important to have people in your life that are able to bring fun to the mix. They can bring fun to the mix. Oh, look, we've got Amanda back. She's back.
hello.
She vanished. She vanished and now she's back.
I was using my magical powers to try and be in two places at once, but we're here now.
All sorts of interesting things happen when we start dealing with our stuff.
It's all energy, Adam. It's all energy.
Hey, you were maybe beamed up. We could have a Scotty moment. Scotty turned in. Beam me up. There you go.
That's exactly what happened. You beamed me in. I was here, then I had to go off to another planet somewhere else for a few seconds, and now I'm back. Yes, yeah. I mix with a lot of mystical people who can tune into all different pieces of information, and even to this day, my little human brain can't compute a lot of the data that gets thrown at me. And not only that, the data that comes through when I'm working with people, it's reminiscent of Star Trek blended with Star Wars, blended with some other things, which I'm still trying to make sense of. And I think it's the same for you, Adam. And I know
the mystical arts, the mystical arts.
The mystical arts. So I feel like I'm in Hogwarts as well. It's like, even just the conversation we had before we got on this morning, we never know what's going to happen on a daily basis. And what we've learned very much is how we roll with it. And we decided a couple of weeks ago to just not take ourselves so seriously. I take myself very seriously, Adam. Adam's the fun one with the great stories. I kind of piggyback on that. I'm always learning from Adam. And so what I like to do is to just, make things a little bit more fun. We're both from the 80s, so we wanted to mix it up with some 80s nonsense. And the world's gone crazy, so it doesn't matter where we start or where we end. The point is we need to be having a lot more fun on the way and stop taking the world so seriously. There's so much things going on now that are out of our control. There's absolutely no point in getting stressed about it. So I know Adam and I wanted to focus on the fun guide to dealing with nonsense today.
It really is. I think that's where it's at, isn't it?
That is it. That is it. So I'm gonna hand that back to you, Adam, while I have a sip of my tea.
Oh, more tea, Vicar. Fair play. Fair play. So just to bring it to life, I've known Amanda for years and years and years, probably lifetimes. I was probably at that planet she came from, at the planet. We're kindred spirits. We've decided to traverse solar systems to join you, my Jedi friends. Here we are. We have incarnated in this reality. We've got Licht in. Licht is back. Hello, Licht. Hi to you.
Fantastic. Hey, Licht.
We've also got Altug here, so you know, Amanda. And Altug is one of my Jedis. He's on the Jedi training program. So we've got a couple of Jedis. Licht's a bit of a Jedi. So, yeah, we attract them. We all know this is where we hang out. This is where Jedis hang out. They're probably from another planet themselves, probably feeling a little bit divorced from reality. What is all this lunatic stuff going on here? So fair play to you. Yeah, Licht turns up to quite a lot of my live streams. Fair play to Licht. I think she's an absolute legend. An absolute legend. So there you go. Look, get the comments going. I'm rather a Jeffy turning Sith. Jedi turning Sith. I just want to give Alltug a massive shout out because he really keeps me on my toes. And part of his journey, just so I'm sure Alltug won't mind me sharing, Alltug is based in Ukraine. So his set of challenges make the rest of ours just look like ridiculous, really. Oh, I've got this thing. People aren't talking to me. I'm dealing with narcissists. He's dealing with people trying to drag him to the front line, to put his life in front of all these nasty drones and Russians shooting at him. So, you know, when we put things in perspective, there are definitely worse situations. So on that basis, I think it's completely okay. I think it's justifiable, Alltug, that you might feel that you're turning Sith at the moment. Licht is back. I want to be a real Jedi. Licht, you are a real Jedi. You will be a real Jedi. You are going to adopt right this second the Jedi mindset and be one of us. You're going to be one of us. So Plant Lady is here. Fantastic. I was just about to go to the post, but was hijacked. Well, Plant Lady, fair play to you. We've all been hijacked. I mean, Amanda here, she was hijacked from another planet, for God's sake. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I had to step out for a few minutes.
Tell us about your experience. What is it like being here on Earth with the rest of us? Mere mortals in this reality, in this dense vibration, and it is very dense, isn't it? We're very dense in the third dimension. Here in the third dimension, why would we do this to ourselves? There's a question for you. Why are we here? That's
a nice small questions to start with this morning, Adam.
Just seeing if you're on your toes here, you interdimensional dude, you.
We're here to experience ourselves, basically, and to go through the highs and lows of this wonderful emotional existence and become master of our emotions. But the prime driver is to get back to love. That sounds super simplistic, but we are here to experience ourselves, and we're all from consciousness. I'm pretty sure we met in consciousness somewhere, Adam, and even AI is getting on the whole consciousness thing now. They're diving in there and and taking hold. So I think AI wants to be a Jedi as well. So once we get them on our side, I think we'll be totally fine. But the bottom line is we're all on a journey, whether we like it or not. And I think some of us are new here, some of us are not. And I think that Earth is a very big experiment. That's what I think. And why we chose to come here, I know some people have memories of it. I don't. I just know that ever since I grew up, I never understood why people can't just love each other and be kind. I've always had that. But I've learned from Adam that there's not always kind people out there, and you can attempt to kill them with kindness, but sometimes that doesn't work. You just have to tell them to F off. Which I've learned with my big brother Adam. I'm a recovering people pleaser, and Adam's taught me the new ways of the Jedi, which is these assholes aren't the ones you're looking for.
These are not the assholes you're looking for.
Yeah, you just have to move on, people. Move on. And the biggest thing, I know I talked about this on the last live stream. For any of you that haven't read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, that's really rocked my world the last couple of weeks and just given me so much permission to just say no to a lot of people and no a lot of the time. Whereas before, I know we have the yes man and the yes, yes to a lot of things, but sometimes you just have to say, no, I'm not going to do that for you, or no, I'm not coming to your party because I don't really like you. And you just have to be moderately honest. And that's something I've always struggled with, because I treat everyone as I'd want to be treated, and I don't like to hurt people's feelings. But I think the permission card, or the yellow or red card in Adam's football language, is if they do something naughty, then you have permission to eject them and move on.
Fair play, absolutely. And that was a really good answer to an incredibly complicated and unfair question that I threw at you so early in the stream as well. So for those,
and so early in Mexico, it's only 9:30 here.
That's it. So Amanda's coming from Mexico. She's bringing a Mexican wave to us all from the other side of the ocean. The other side of the ocean. Look at that. That's how we do it. That's how we roll on this.
Sending the waves.
Sending the waves, seismic. We are moving them across. So Alltug said that Earth is a wonderful place suffering from an untreatable sickness called humanity. Well, in fairness, Altug, I do ask myself, and I know that you do as well, what the fuck am I doing here? How I don't really identify. Well, I mean, let's face it, in this woke age, I can say I don't identify as a human. In fact, when I get people telling me their gender pronouns and all this kind of stuff, I say, well, I don't identify as a human being. I identify as a badger. I'm a badger. And I'm disgusted that you humans treat us badgers with such contempt, ruining the environment. Like, I was always told, this is actually a fun thing, isn't it? That if you're dealing with lunatics, you have to out-lunatic them. If you can give a lunatic, a genuine bona fide lunatic, just that seed of doubt that you might be madder than they are, then they'll probably leave you alone. And that served me fairly well. So I feel I've been prepared for this. And I know that you've had quite a lot of lunacy. I mean, it's certainly being that side of the Atlantic. Amanda's lived in all sorts of interesting places. Her life is like a storybook. You want to give an example? When I say to you, Amanda, give us a case study, a random story about you being abroad that sort of encapsulates some of the madness that you've seen on your adventures. What's the first thing that pops in your mind?
Mexican police. There's a very nice town south of here called Tulum. We call them the Tuluminatis. And these are what I call, many of them, not all of them, many of them are what I call the fake spiritual race. So you have everything from yoni steaming to naked yoga, anything spiritual or way out there, you will find in Tulum, which is about an hour south of me. And every time we go down there, unfortunately, we have to donate to the local police force because they just like stopping our car. And they'll usually make up some excuse for something that's wrong, even though it isn't wrong. And to get away from them, you literally, you do have to pay them. You have to pay them a little bit of money. And the last time we were in Tulum, which it has not a very nice energy. The beach part is okay in the ruins, but as soon as you get outside of that, it's the energy of greed and darkness. I don't actually like it. I love where I am, which is Playa del Carmen. Anyway, so we're trucking along. We've just seen friends in Tulum. Anyway, 2 motorcycle cop stoppers, and start saying, "Oh yes, this," and I'm arguing in my best Spanish, and all we had was $60 US. So we managed to get away with that and gave them the money and they let us go. And then literally, I'm not kidding you, 4 minutes later, 2 new motorcycle cops stop us again and give us the same spiel. And we went, "Excuse me, love, excuse me. Your 2 mates back there have taken all of our cash, so we can't give you any cash. I'm happy to drive the station and do a full docket and pay you in full at the station. But otherwise, your 2 mates behind have already taken everything we've got." And they were like, they radioed each other and obviously confirmed our story. And then we were allowed to go on our way. We had a load of suitcases in the back. So whenever there's anything that's that obvious, they will target you. And just in front, there was some Marines pulling over some other people. So it's their way of getting some charity money. But the thing that's scary about living here is that, when things go wrong, you cannot go to the police. You don't call the police if something goes wrong here. You call your mates, because as a foreigner here and you call the police, they will just try and extort more money from you or make the situation worse. So that's the only really big downside, I think, of living here in Mexico. Having said that, I'm very ruled by freedom. And when I come back to the UK, the first thing I feel when I come into the UK is I'm being watched everywhere I go. There's cameras everywhere. I can't pay in cash. Everything I do is monitored with the credit card. Everything I do, from the train, from the airport, as soon as I arrive into London, you're on the Oyster card or whatever it is. Everything I do is monitored, and I feel usually the first day I come back, not a panic attack, but I'm just aware of the level of control that is in my home country now. It's incredible. Plus the pricing is absolutely nuts. We have an apartment, and it's I think I paid £1,000 a day for a plumber in London now. It's just insane. For the same job here, it would cost me 20 quid. 20 or 30 quid. So the difference in living costs and the mentality is incredible. But the main reason I live here is, well, number one is freedom. Number two, the Mexicans in generally are pretty happy. They've got nothing. You go out to the side here and they literally live in one room with like 4 hammocks with a dog. They are happy as a pig in poo. Happy as a pig in poo. They work 6 days a week. Gets to Saturday afternoon, they spend most of their money on beer or really nice tacos. And then Sunday, they're all on the beach with Granny and a cooler and everything, having a very nice time, just like in the 80s. Yeah, family orientated fun. So that's what I really love about this country here. They've got it right. Food, fun, bit of sun, and still working. They work hard, these guys here, but they also know how to chill out and be, really be cool. So I think sometimes in Europe we've lost that family feel. We've lost the sense of being together as a family, and I think that's really what holds the community together here. Plus the weather. Can't argue with the weather. So that's what I would say about living overseas. It's a very different perspective looking into the UK and into Europe from out here. It's I would say it's much more of an objective perspective. Yeah.
Fair play. So Licht has jumped in, said, do you think we really own the things we own or not? I don't think the World Economic Forum is allowed to steal it from us. Well, unfortunately, Licht, the more things go forward, it looks like the World Economic Forum is vying for centralized power. And there's a lot of governments feeding into that at the moment. So, no, it feels like we don't really own things. I mean, it's never been more apparent than it does. A lot of people have left the UK, especially. It's in a very dark zone at the moment. I mean, that's certainly what I picked up with the World Economic Forum. I absolutely don't trust them at all. Them or the World Health Organization. Never before has there been such an oxymoron. What would you say about that, Amanda? Any comments to add?
I think again, being in Mexico, we have a lot of freedom here. I could go hide in the jungle and no one would ever find me, and I find that quite exciting. I think now is the time for absolute self-responsibility. I don't think there's any way. I'm trying to make this fun. How can I make self-responsibility fun? But yeah, it really is about self-responsibility with AI and everything that's going on. We've got to be the absolute masters of our emotions and how we react to things, because I don't think things are necessarily going to get easier. And a lot of those big organizations are going to make things difficult. And Alto, all credit to you. We have a lot of Ukrainians that have come to, and Russians as well, actually, come to Mexico to get passports here and just escape the situation. And we get very different stories from both sides. So the news, there's not very much trust. I mean, if you imagine like 50 years ago, even 40 years ago, we trusted the government, we trusted news, all those kind of things. Now we don't know who to believe because everything's so manipulated. And with AI, I mean, I've got a lot of Canadian conspiracy theorists here that go from, Kate Middleton's a clone to all the nasty child trafficking stuff. I mean, there's a lot of information out there which my little empathic human brain can't calculate. So for me personally and the clients that I work with, I work on that, getting that emotional resilience to you are a friggin' infinite being. You're an infinite being with infinite energy. You can live as long as you want. You can be as healthy as you want. And I think I really want to write a book around the thoughts, because we are literally one thought away from everything that you want. And I was in the pool this morning. That's not try to be an asshole. I swim because if I don't, my joints hurt. All right. So I have to swim. But while I'm in the pool, I'm going over what am I grateful for? What can I focus on today that I can control? What am I grateful for? Because everything else around it kind of, you just can't control it. So really getting into that, I can control this, and I can do what I can today. And the other thing is we are, like I said a moment ago, we are infinite beings. And so you can decide in one moment, do you know what? I have everything I need right now. You can just go into the energy of, I have everything I need right now without the $1 million, without peace, with all those other things. And you can just feel that peace in yourself. And I know I'm oversimplifying it, but I just think we don't realize how powerful we are. And, we are all Jedis. We can all move the force. We can all tap into the force. The force is free for everyone, but you need to access it. So my way to do it is I channel. I can just plug in, which is fantastic. But meditation, anywhere where you're in stillness or nature, or where you're in the zone, you can remember that you are an infinite being. And despite all the assholes and the shit that's going on in the world, you are going to be okay. You are going to be okay. And that's what I go through, just that absolute resilient gratitude. And I'm more powerful than I can ever know. And so I want you to remember how freaking amazing you are, despite everything else that's going on, because you can't control it. There's just no way.
Well, that's an interesting point. So let's bring this alive. Let's make this practical for people that are watching now. And I'm sure I can almost read their minds and say, yes, that's easier said than done. Easier said than done. And Licht has shown up. I've everything because I'm not invested in fake narratives anymore. Well done, Licht.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it sounds like you're on the red pill journey. And the red pill journey can be a very lonely journey when you realise that other people, they chose the blue pill. Like all of your surroundings, it's like people aren't getting it. You're starting to see the world differently, but nobody else seems to be. And it's a very, very lonely, isolating place to find yourself. So let's start with that. You know, I know that a lot of people, especially the people watching this, are probably feeling a little bit isolated. And it's all very well talking about peace and love. We all want more peace and love. Peace and love. Yeah. We all want more of that. But what are the practical steps to getting it? So Only Once has jumped in. Yes, make it practical. Give some examples in the here and now. So here's my question. I have my own answer. But since I have the wonderful Amanda on, look, new Yoda. Only Once has showed up. New Yoda's showed up. The Jedis are out. The Jedis are out. Welcome, my Jedi friends. You will turn up and energize and feel great. We're going to do an exercise together. So New Yoda says, don't let the bad ones get you down. Easier said than done. Simple does not mean easy. That is very sage. I expect nothing less from you, New Yoda. You've brought your Jedi wisdom to the stream. So it is tough. I mean, I think I can speak for Amanda to safely say that, yes, we talk about concepts. Anyone that does this stuff can talk a good game. But the reality is, when you're in the trenches, when the chips are down, when you're not feeling it, you just think, fuck it. Fuck this. Fuck everybody. The fuck it moment. Fuck you blue pill army that don't get me, that don't get it. Let's fucking do this. And you know, you'll know from my streams that we talk about this thing of you've got to be your own best friend. So how do you become your own best friend? Well, I've my version. You've all watched my videos. I know you are my regulars, but I've got the wonderful Amanda here. So let's bring this alive very practically, Amanda. So it's one of those days, everybody's on your case. You've just had a new billing. Somebody's had a go at you for no particular reason. You've been stopped by 10 Mexican policemen, all wanting their cut of the pie on your way to your spiritual gathering down in Tulum. And we haven't even mentioned some of the workshops that you've sent me of what they advertise to get people there.
Beyond me.
We'll do that. We'll put that on pause. We'll put that on pause for later into the podcast, because that's an absolute cracker for this topic. So you're having a really, really shit day and you just can't be bothered with it all. You just think, fuck it. Fuck the lot of them. How do you get from that space to the Jedi zone? How do you do it? What's the first thing you have to do?
My number one go-to. Yeah, my number one go-to is I go to the beach, which I know everybody can't do. I literally just get on my bike and go, that's it, I'm done. And I will go down to the beach and I will stick my feet in the sand and I will stare at the sea and I will breathe, and I'll breathe super, super deeply. And then I'll just close my eyes and I'll just literally visualize myself going up into space, looking down on the earth and just getting absolute perspective. So I do take myself, I meditate on the beach and I take myself up into outer space. I look at the sun, all the planets, and I turn and look back at Earth and I go, I just remember how small, but not insignificant, how small, and just what other perspective can I have on this whole situation? And so then I go in and actually see the situation from different angles as myself, even from different, literally behind my shoulder, above, whatever situations are. And then I try and I literally, if it's depending on what problem is, I will go in my mind, I'll go, right, I need to speak to Einstein, or can I have a word with Warren Buffett? You know, whoever it is, I'll go into my mind, have a conversation with them, and then just say, how would you solve this? I'm going to leave this with you, and then I'll come back to you later. So I literally hand the problem up wherever I am in space, chill out about it, and then I stay on the beach for a good hour until I feel that all that stress, all that anger, that freaking frustration in my heart and my body, I've released it out of my body and I let it come up and out. If you're holding on to those emotions, it's gonna cause dis-ease. So I'm always sure we're always going to feel those negative emotions. We're always going to feel that stress. So for me, it's getting it out generally through breathing, meditation, and a lot of visualization to just see things from a completely different angle, because you can't solve the problem from the nature of the problem. If you can't go to the beach, then again, if I haven't got time, I'm going to go and stand on the grass out here and I'm going to connect with nature. I will stare at a tree. There's a load of birds out here. So I do go into nature a lot, and I just visualize saying, hey guys, I can't cope with this today. I'm feeling stress. I need to hand this up to you. And I will just hand it up to what I call my divine team and say, look, you've got a better bird's eye view than me. Can I just hand this up? And if all else fails, I will go to ChatGPT as a third option and go, I'm not having a good day. This, and this happened. Talk to me. And it will give me solutions from a logical point of view. But for the emotional side, I will go within. I will get the emotion up and out because it's important to do that. I will visualize getting a solution somehow. And if I can't visualize it myself, I'll hand it up. And I will just let go. And a lot of times, especially with the bigger situations, I just surrender because there is nothing I can do. And it's not easy to surrender because I'm a doer. I like to get things done. I like to make things happen. So to surrender, like you say, New Yoda, it's simple, but it's not easy to do. If I said to you all now, surrender to the situation, we all know it consciously, but doing it is a different thing. So my challenge to you when you're having those dark days is really just, you've got to go within. You've got to do the breathing. You've got to do the visualization, connect to your infinite self and allow them to take the strain. And I've been doing that for probably 3 or 4 years now, and it just makes such a difference. And then I come back and I'm not so pissed off. And I see things in a different light. Because as you know, when emotion is really high, intelligence and low. And I have to say, when I do face the police officers, I have to really hold my breath and center myself, because they do really, they scare me because I never know what's going to happen. So I have to just go, it's all right. It's all right. And I do send love. I'm like, I love you. I love you. I'm going to tell you another really quick story, because I did get stopped by policemen 2 days ago again. But I drew it to me because I was crapping myself. We had to get new papers for the car. So I dropped my husband off at the center where you get all the documentation. So he had all the documentation for the car, but he didn't have cash. So I went with the kids in the car into the town center to get cash out of HSBC. While I was doing that in my mind, I was saying to myself, I don't want to get stopped. I don't want to get stopped, because I didn't have any paperwork, nothing to prove that the car was mine. So what happened 8 minutes later? I'm at the traffic lights with my mobile phone in my left hand against the steering wheel, trying to find the bank. At the traffic lights, foot cop, it's like, come over. And I'm like, oh no, I'm being pulled over. So I got pulled over by a 22-year-old policeman 2 days ago. And my heart starts to rate. And I have to admit, I did start to freak out, because I knew in my mind, I have no paperwork in the car. And he's going to ask me for my ID, the driving license, paperwork, everything. All I have is my driving license. And then, and he was saying, well, where's the documentation? I said, it's with my husband at the center. And he just looked at me as if to say, that's a load of bullshit. And I was like, look, come with me, get in the car. I'll drive you there. And I'll show you all that. This is in Spanish. I'll drive you there. And my husband's there with all the paperwork. And he's going, this is very bad. This is very, very bad. He said, I have to fine you for the mobile phone in your hand, and you have no paperwork. I might have to take the car. And I'm like, oh. And then my mind flashes to when we went to the center, my daughter was feeding a wild dog some ham. And I had a picture of her with the sign of the office in the background. And in my mind, I'm going, I love you, police officer. I love you. I love you. I was breathing really deeply, going, I've got to get out of this. I love the police officer. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm showing him the picture of my daughter with the dog feeding ham with the sign in the background saying, look, this is us this morning. My husband's at the center. And then he looked at me and he went, okay. He said, I'm going to let you go. And I went, I'm going to let you go, but you need to sort this right away. And I went, yes, officer, no problem. I'm going right now. Can I at least get the money out of the machine, please, before I go back to the center? So I pulled round and was just parking. But at that point, I was still shaking. I was a bit in shock. But I managed to change that situation by just really breathing. I connected very quickly to my higher self, connected to the center of the earth, and kept sending love literally to the police officer to change it in that moment, because he could have easily taken the car off me, find me 300 or 400 pounds. It could have been a complete nightmare. But in that situation, I managed to turn all of that fear, because I was scared, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I was very, very scared. 2 kids in the back, managed to turn it around. So love was the answer.
Love is the answer. Well, hopefully that's given you some sort of practical guide of how to turn it around, and the sort of techniques
in any situations
that can work, because it's not always easy to feel love. And not only that, but I mean, we have discussed, especially Lindsay, who's just turned up and says, "Oh, hi, Adam, and guest speaker. This is Amanda." I just caught this. So you're here with the wonderful Amanda today, Lindsay, who's one of my very dear friends. She's like my sister. She's my soul sister. So yeah, it's my little sis that I've brought along here, who's absolutely wonderful, that has got great fun energy. When she was last over here in the UK, we just spent the whole day laughing. People thought we were lunatics. We're in the pub. I couldn't even breathe at one point, because we were just having such a stupid time, just laughing at stupid things. And I think you've got to have that stupid friend, or not stupid, but stupidly silly sometimes.
Same sense of humor.
We've got the same sense of humor. And when we go, we just go. We're off down a rabbit hole.
All day with
tears
laughter
rolling down our eyes, because some kids was serving us behind the bar that looked like, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube. Let's just say a distant relative to Harry Potter. That wasn't the exact verbiage, but I think I'd probably get banned on YouTube if I tell you what we actually said. Needless to say, we've the same sense of humor, and we laugh a lot. So it really is. People that are sensitive to energy, are going to feel down a lot, especially when you're tuning into all of this shit that's happening on the planet right now. And the odds are that serious shit's happening to you, and Lindsay knows all about that. I know that pretty much everyone watching here, because I've been through the list, I certainly know that Alltug is, that are really feeling it. What the hell is the point? What's the hell the point with humanity? Why are there so many assholes around? What's necessary? It's like diamonds. You are a diamond, my Jedi friend. You're a bunch of diamonds. And diamonds are formed by pressure, which means we have to get increasingly boss level assholes attracted in our life until we actually get it. And I can say it because we got Lindsay here with a little smiley face. Good to see you smiling there, Lindsay, because I know that you've been through the mill, going through our little process. And part of it is, as Lindsay will tell you, the new awakening that she's had is sometimes for good people, for generally empathic people, for generally spiritual people, we have to be comfortable with feeling anger. And I know this is all about fun, and it's how do you get yourself out of it, but
you need to deal with it.
You've got to. You're not going to deal with your stuff by being peace and love to a narcissist. That absolutely will not work for you. All it will do is just it will enable more bad behavior coming in your direction. That we're being called to really feel our emotions. And the turnaround point for me was being so fucking angry with all these boss level assholes that were attracted into my life, that I decided my boundaries became really clear. And this doesn't mean that when I'm here with my Jedi friends, I'm going to be an arsehole about it. No, when I'm with the empathic people, then our energy is good. But it's given me a new skill set of how to identify narcissists and how to deal with them really clearly and really assertively as well. That didn't happen before they all showed up and started to put my life under pressure. I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that, Amanda, because I know that you've had a few challenges lately as well.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty zen most of the time. But the one thing that really hits my buttons, and probably for any of you that have children out there, is not being appreciated, because I do work pretty hard and I love what I do. So it's not really work. But if my family don't appreciate me, I can go from 0 to 100. But it takes a long time generally to wind me up. But when I go, my family goes. So if I'm feeling it, especially obviously I'm in the menopausal years, I'll warn my family and go, guys, I'm feeling a bit psychotic today, so you need to be kind to mummy, because otherwise you're going to get it. And I literally say that in the morning. I go, guys, mummy needs space today. And I'm trying to be the example for my children because I want them to be able to express anger. And my husband is French, so he sounds like he's angry most of the time. He's very loud, and so my children are very British, and so when he starts to go, they go, Papa, you're raising your voice, and he goes, I am not raising my voice, and it kind of, I spiral. So my husband's a very good example of how to express anger or frustration vocally. And I've said to my children, when the anger comes up, you've got to let it come up and out. And so we do allow anger in this house. We don't allow swearing so much for the kids. But we do allow them to have the anger come up and out. And the same with clients, because, I'm, as being a hypnotherapist and a healer, they do think that they're never going to have negative emotions again. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You're going to have the emotion come up. One tip that I give clients all the time is when that negative emotion comes up, emotion is energy in motion. So it's got to come up and out. So I want to give you a little tip now and a tool that I use all the time, especially around my stepmother. Which is called the release technique. And so whatever the emotion is, a lot of us, I'd love to know actually, you guys, when you've got negative emotions coming up, please put in the chat, where do you feel it in your body? I feel it in my solar plexus and the top of my tummy. Just put in the chat now, where do you feel fear, frustration, all those negative emotions? Where do you feel it first in your body? I'm really interested to know. So pop those in the chat. When you get that negative emotion come up, I actually say to the emotion, I love you, and I let you go. I love you, and I let you go. And I experience this with when people are pushing my buttons. When you're feeling it in your body, you don't have to say it out loud because people think you're nuts. But the emotion needs your permission to come out. Chest and stomach, yeah. Top of the solar plexus for you as well, yeah. So I feel it right here. And so I will say and visualize talking to that part of my body and say, hey, I love you, and I let you go. And have a joke with it. Say, I love you and I let you go because I'm on a live with Adam today. Or I love you and I let you go because I'm just had a couple of wines. Whatever it is, your body, remember your body is not just a body. It's a living, breathing, energetic organism. And that energy needs to come up and out. So say, I love you and I let you go. And I mean, really love that emotion. So I love you and I release you. Some people don't like to say, I let you go because they feel it's a negative. So if that wording doesn't work for you, just say, I love you and I release you. Play with it and say it in your own language as well. The emotion needs to get the message. I guarantee if you do that and you keep saying it until the emotion comes up and out, you'll get back to ground zero really, really quickly. Now, it seems really simple, but it's bloody effective. Really, really effective. So I challenge all of you to use that for the next week.
Well, some interesting shares while you were talking about that, about where they're feeling the energy. I mean, especially from all Doug. Fair play to
yes, you. I know. Yeah, you need to figure out how to get the sun in there, Alto. That's my reply to that one. Get the sun in there, mate. Get the sun in it.
Absolutely.
Get the sun in your hole.
Well, this is it, because you feel it in your body. We talked about how we store stuff if we don't release it, if we don't learn to release it. And you can't release it if you think peace and love is the answer to everything. If your gut is feeling dense, horrible energy because somebody's like having a go at you, then peace and love isn't always the direct route out. Sometimes you have to let that energy out, let that energy in motion so that you can go back to peace and love. You want peace and love for yourself, but that doesn't necessarily mean if somebody's perpetually giving bad behavior to you, that's peace and love is the right thing to deal with that situation. So interesting. That brings us back to Lindsay's story about the guy harassing him in town, sat next to her on the bench, eating her salad in peace and visualized protection, and he walked away. So we talked about that, Lindsay. We've talked about working on energy exercises to facilitate or to help you or stack the deck. So it's a good share, Lindsay. Absolutely. What we visualize, exactly the same way as Amanda's story with the police. Sometimes, yes, you do need to throw, a positive, energizing exercise to stack the deck in your favor. And these things work. So here's a statistic. I know I talk about this a lot, but let's just cover it. That according to the statistics, 5% of the population, that's 1 in 20 people, has no empathy at all. Dealing with narcissists and psychopaths, 5%. 1 in every 20 people you meet has no sense of empathy. And this is where most empaths go absolutely wrong. you know, that you don't learn this stat and you think that everyone can be peace and love around to your way of thinking. When in actual fact, that's a bit like a fly doing a little dance for a spider and trying to win them over with their charming personality. It's never going to work, folks. It's not the way the spider is wired. They are wired differently. You are a fly and they just want to eat you. But it's not enough to eat you. They want to catch you in the web and keep you alive until they're ready to eat you, so you have to suffer a bit. That's pretty much how narcissism works. They want to catch you. The other one is the killer whales. When they catch the seals, they don't kill them straight away. They take them out to sea and they just batter them all around because they like to watch the suffering. That's what happens when a narcissist meets an empath. It's not enough just to kill you. No, that would be all too easy. We want to watch you suffer in front of us. And if you don't wake up to that dynamic, then it will perpetuate. So the energy and motion thing is so important. That wasn't a very fun explanation, but hopefully I can make it fun for the next one. Can laugh at them. We can laugh at them, folks. You know, actually laughing at narcissists, that is a Jedi thing because they hate that.
They dislike it intensely. They can't match that energy. They can't match it at all. Now, Adam, I know we're repeating this, but Adam asked me on another live, can you change a narcissist with hypnosis? And in my experience, it's definitely possible. It's not easy, but it is possible because some narcissists do get to the point where they are willing to change. But my experience, especially in the last couple of years, is a lot of the narcissists I've come across do have, I have to say it, mental health issue. Many of the ones I've come across have what we call borderline personality disorder. And in my experience, working with the partners of those people, they've had to leave them because they couldn't cope with the demands and the treatment. Even though they loved the person more than anything, they just couldn't navigate it, because you do need a trained professional to deal with that kind of person. So in those situations, I know medication is one route, which I don't really like, but again, I'm not a trained psychiatrist. It's very difficult to change them when they're on that particular path. But if it's a few levels down, then yes, laughing at a narcissist is something that will highly irritate them. And they will want, some of them, I know, Adam, you've experienced this as well, they will want to go at you harder because they can't control you. When you're in that space of what I call it Teflon shielding, then they can't actually hurt you because you're like, whatever you do is not going to hurt me anymore. But it takes an empath quite a bit of time sometimes to get to that point where they are in the non-people pleasing, complete boundary setting mode, and they can't hurt them anymore. But I have hypnotized a lot of empaths who are with narcissists to leave the narcissist, to give them the emotional wherewithal to make that decision that this is my boundary and I'm going. One of my clients now, she just separated from her husband 4 weeks ago. She's now a single mum with a special needs child. So she's had the courage to do that, but we had to get her to a point where she felt comfortable and strong enough to be able to do that. And that comes into resilience and strengthening our energetic boundaries and our energetic being, to remember that we are, this is a lady. So I really went into her goddess energy and strengthened her goddess energy. So she could see that even though she cared for her husband, they were never a good match, never a good match. And so now, little by little, she's becoming stronger, more independent. And she knows deep down, I've just had a text from her this morning, reconfirming her decision that she knows she's done the right thing. She feels so much lighter and better because she was in dark for a very long time.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? And one of the big tests, isn't it, you'll find with if you want to test, are you dealing with a narcissist? Narcissists are very manipulative, and when they tell you to do something and you wake up, this is a narcissist and they're just getting me to do stuff. There's a test called the smiling no. If a narcissist tells you to do something and you say no with a smile on your face, it drives them absolute nuts. It's like kryptonite. Because a narcissist, they want you to feel low. We talked about energy dynamics. Empaths together, like my Jedi friends on this call, we're all in the same boat, my Jedi friends. When you put Jedis together, empaths together, healers together, It's the most natural thing in the world to want to bring everybody up. Everybody's energy does this when you're hanging out with empaths, because it just feels so natural. But the trouble is with a narcissist, what they do, they mimic you for a while and you think they're your mate. And then when they've got you, this is how the energy dynamic works. That I only win when you lose. And that's how they drain you.
And they turn things around.
And then when you get angry and say, oh no, this enough is enough, they'll mimic you again. They'll do this. And you think, oh, they've changed. Yes, look, they're being good. And a few days, few weeks, few months later, reset. They'll do something inexplicably cruel or bring you down. And they just keep doing it. They'll mimic you when you lose the plot. And when they think they're safe again, the energy reverts back to default setting. And it takes so many empaths, it takes empaths so long to wake up to this dynamic. And yet when you look back at it, it's completely obvious you were dealing with narcissism. And it's like you then start beating yourself up for not seeing it early. How did I not see it when all my friends saw it? All my friends warned me. All these empath friends around me, they all saw it, but I didn't. Why didn't I wake up to it? Because you wanted to see the best in people. And you didn't have a Jedi friend to say, stop being an arsehole. Maybe they did, but you didn't want to listen to them. You didn't want to listen, did you, my Jedi friends? Oh, hang on, I'm falling behind with the comments here. So where are we here? So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Lindsay has jumped in. So a lot of people diagnosed with BPD, that's bipolar disorder, I believe. Are people dealing with a complex? I have a diagnosis. There is an aspect of NPD. That is NPD. I'll have to. I'm afraid me and the acronyms. I'm not quite so sharp at the moment. That ties in with BPD. So Lindsay is saying lots of acronyms. Don't confuse them with acronyms. Bipolar disorder is the BPD. I've got that. The NPD, I'm not quite so sure. Amanda, can you think?
Is it narcissist? Is it narcissistic?
Oh, narcissistic personality disorder.
I think. Is that what you mean, Lindsay?
I think that's what she means. So, and her next comment was complex trauma. So complex trauma and complex acronyms, that's what we're dealing with here. But yes, I mean, it is very complicated because you're putting two complete misfits together and you're drawn together. That's the worst part. You're drawn together. Destiny has put it in that way. So I don't have narcissistic personality disorder. Far from it. I'm highly sensitive. Absolutely, Lindsay. And the superpower here I am catching up with all the shares now. Thanks, Lindsay. Great share, Adam and Amanda. New Yoda. The deep forces of protection and healing are an empath's best friend. Absolutely. But also hanging out with other empaths. Waking up. Waking up is brutal, but the wake up process, and this would be my slant on it, Amanda. I don't know about yours. It makes it far easier to wake up to things like narcissism and psychopaths, to see it early and to deal with it. That doesn't mean you have to be an arsehole about it. You might want to be an arsehole to the people that are being an arsehole to you. In the same way that a hedgehog has spikes, you want to incentivize people not to fuck with you, my Jedi friends. So, to learn that you can throw a punch and you can. Here's more kryptonite to narcissists: to laugh at them in public or to joke at them or to take the piss out of them so that everyone starts laughing. That is absolute kryptonite gold dealing with narcissism. When they come in with their best punch to bring you down and you manage to deflect it with a joke, get everyone else laughing. So, yes, it is a superpower. Waking up is brutal. But this is about learning to see narcissism, learning to identify it early, and then choosing whether you want to deal with it or walk away from it. So, yeah, Amanda is fairly expert in dealing with that, because not everybody actually does want to split up with their narcissistic partner.
No, they don't.
Things like, the kids would suffer. Yeah. I mean, we have slightly differing views on this, me and Amanda. And so, But I mean, sometimes you do feel you want unity for the kids. You don't want them to see, the parents break up. You feel it's better the devil you know. You'd rather be there in their lives and have some sort of influence or some sort of protection from the narcissist than to split up and know that they're on their own coping. So it is a complicated area. There's no right.
I think the education is much better now. I mean, the words narcissist and empath weren't really bandied around till about, I've only noticed them really probably the last 5 years. When I started doing this work 26 years ago, those terms weren't really being used, and in relationships, like he was a bastard, so I left him. Yeah, he was a bastard, so I left him. There was no real
that bastard. Yeah, that was
there's no real breakdown. But I mean, let me tell you, I mean, I've been with my husband 21 years. I want to give you some hope out there, for people that are looking for the right person. I met my husband 21 years ago. His dad got divorced 4 times. So we had 3 stepmoms, and each of those stepmoms, one was relatively kind to him, but the others were not particularly kind. So when he got together with me, he was lovely. But once he had a few drinks, then all those old wounds would come up, and he'd be verbally not particularly nice with me and because of my psychology training, I knew he was doing that to elicit bitchy behavior from me, because that was normal for him. In his mind, to feel safe and secure, a woman had to be unkind to him, because that's what he'd experienced all of his life. So I took him aside and went, and I could feel his soul. I could feel what an amazing soul he was. And luckily, because of my training, I went, look, let's just have a little chat now. Come to Jesus. I've got this training. I'm a hypnotherapist. I really like you a lot. But if we're going to continue this relationship, I'm not putting up with this shit, because I'm a goddess. And this is another thing, people. You have to get to that point in your life where you really value who you are. And I was at a point in my life where I had my own car, my own house, successful career. I was thinner than I am now. And I was really, really happy with who I was. And so I didn't need some guy that was going to mess my life up and be an asshole. And he was being an asshole when he had a few drinks. It wasn't normal, but after a few beers, this new person came out. And I said, you've got one choice. You either let me hypnotize you, and we scratched the CD, because obviously CDs were big back then. We scratched the CD so you can't play this Women Are Bitches CD, or we're going to go our separate ways, because I value myself and I am a really good catch. So you decide. And he went, okay, I'll go for the hypnosis. And he was pretty scared. He was scared. He thought, this woman is crazy, but I like her. So he allowed me to hypnotize him. And I went in and basically scratched the CD and went, you are lovable. You are lovable. Women are not bitches. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be here. You can receive love. It's safe to receive love. 21 years later, we're still together. But I wouldn't say he was a narcissist. It wasn't really narcissistic behavior. It was just it was a safety mechanism for him, but it had to be broken. It was just a neural pathway that needed to be cut. And when we cut that, when you've got the knowledge that we have, then that relationship works, because it wasn't about that behavior. It was what was causing the underlying behavior. So for those of you out there, just think a little bit deeper. And I know some of you experienced trauma and you're going through this yourself. When we're dealing with other people, it's very easy to judge, but we need to step in their shoes and really think about, okay, where are they coming from? If they are a real narcissist, though, it's not an easy person to deal with. I'm going to say that right off the bat, but there's still hope out there, and don't mal-categorize them before you really get to know what the situation is, because it is tricky. It is more complicated, like Adam and Lindsay said. Give them a chance, but if they're a narcissist, then I would seriously get them they have to have psychological help to move through that, because it is more tricky than you think. And I always say, try and avoid medication if you possibly can, because it really messes a lot of Americans that I work with. It's messed them up. I'm not a doctor. Speak to a doctor, but if you can minimize the medication, I really recommend it, because sometimes it really makes the situation work, from my experience. But always get a psychiatrist's opinion on that. Don't want to get myself into legal trouble now. Disclaimer, always check with your physician.
Yeah, you have to say that. And then quite often it's the physician that messes you up in the first place. Always check.
Always check.
Say that from a legal perspective.
Yeah, but balance that with all the alternative medicine that's out there at the moment. I mean, I'm doing a parasite cleanse right now. So I'm taking ivermectin. I'm going to get myself some albendazole. And a lot of people down here, because you can get ivermectin very easily and very cheaply, There's a lot of people and doctors down here that are doing research on the fact that parasites create cancer. So they're trialing a lot of ivermectin down here to stop people having parasites, which seems to be causing cancer in some people down here. And because it's very way out, you can get a lot of not over the counter, prescription drugs, literally over the counter here. So a lot of people are experimenting with alternative medicine here for psychological things. Plant medicine is really huge down here, guys. So mushrooms, ayahuasca, all of the plant stuff that indigenous races have been using for thousands of years down here is now being used in a commercial way. Some of it I feel is a little bit dodgy, it's not been, what's the word? Not categorized. Controlled, it's not being regulated. But there's a lot of people that are being healed mentally. This is Mental Health May, being healed mentally with these other plant substances. So just do your research, people. Whatever's going on with you, make sure you look at the alternative side and the medical side, because there's a lot of plant stuff out there that's really good now.
Well, there you go, folks. Mushrooms, ayahuasca. I'm checking out flights to Mexico. I don't know about you. Sounds great. It sounds great.
There's a lot of cool stuff here, I have to say. It's a good place to be. The energy vortex is here for Jedis. Is pretty amazing. There's thousands of Jedis here, people. Thousands of Jedis here. It's a mecca.
Just watch out for the cops on your way there.
I'm not using the bloody car this week, I tell you. I'm not using the car this week.
Take a few quid just in case.
Well, we drove 2 hours to the next city to try and sort the plates out. We went for 6 o'clock in the morning. We queued for 6 hours to be told that it's not possible because of this, and this. And then we talked to somebody else and said, if you pay us $500, we might be able to sort it out for you. But it's very complicated, and you have to kind of wriggle your way through things here. You have to try and, make things happen.
For sure. So let's go back through some of the comments that we've actually displayed. So Licked, while you were talking, said, it's better dealing, thinking about the higher goods than any human on the planet. You are better off alone. Well, a lot of people think that way, Licked, and I would be one of them to a degree. Sometimes it's just way too complicated. There's enough shit to deal with your own head rather than have to deal with someone else's as well. You're speaking to the converted here, but I mean, that's not necessarily a good thing either. Because once you've got your own shit together, you'll attract the right partner. So it has been said. My Jedi friends. When you sort your shit out, you'll attract someone that sorted their shit out. Is that it takes a long time to sort your shit out, so you can spend a long time single.
You got to do what's right for you. I mean, at the time when I met my husband, he didn't want a girlfriend and I didn't want a boyfriend. We were both at the point, and I have a lot of clients that do want a partner, so they come to me to attract the right partner. And I say to all of them, look, I didn't want it. It was the time in my life where I wanted to stay single for the rest of my life. And then he popped in, and he was the same. He just ended a relationship with a Russian lady, and the last thing he wanted is a new relationship. And then boom, we came together. And what's really funny is both our mums died the same year. Both of our mums died of cancer in the same year. And we always thought that was really weird. And we do joke that they were up there and somewhere else on a different planet said, oh yeah, I think my son should go out with your daughter. Let's just put them together. We do joke about that. But yeah, some people are happy alone. You've got to do what's right for you. And as long as you are happy or relatively happy with who you are, I think things go a long way. And just the last 2 years being here, because there is a lot of energy movement and a lot of people in 5, 3D, all different dimensions here. I've really started to play with time and making things happen, just seeing how I can make things happen. So I would just say, question your reality, question where you are and your beliefs where you are right now. That's one thing that came from that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend you do that as homework. And it just reminds us what's really important to us. And if it's not important to you, don't do it. Don't waste time on it. We only have so many energy or so many, well, his said words, you only have so many fucks to worry about every day. So make sure that your F's count. And that would probably be my biggest bit of advice today. Make the F's count. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, you can check out your own reality on some of those mushrooms Amanda's talking about. And I hear that ayahuasca's a pretty good hit as well. That'll make life interesting.
If it's done by the right shaman, it should be done by someone that's been trained properly, that knows how to deal with it, because it's not necessarily a pleasant experience for some people. It does involve a lot of vomiting if you do it with rapé. It's not something that I do because I don't want responsibility for some substance going into somebody else's body. I like to go into their mind. I'm a hypnotherapist, energy healer, but the plant substances, you need to make sure you are with a reputable person, because it's a very powerful substance. Super
so
powerful.
there you go, folks. Ayahuasca makes you vomit, so you need to be with the right people. It's a bit like drinking alcohol, really,
isn't it?
It's
a trip for sure.
Exactly the same. Be careful who you go down the pub with, because you could end up vomiting. You need a licensed, accredited friends to make sure that you're on the right track if you're going to go down and do that. It's very sensible advice.
Probably have very similar effect. You'll probably see different dimensions after 20 pints and then vomit, and it's probably very similar result.
No, I don't know if we can say it on the stream, but for the record, Amanda keeps sending me all of these workshops that are being hosted in Tulum, and they all of them have me laughing out loud because they're so far out there. They are so far out there. I think one of them was the ritual for the sacred vagina. I thought, well, I could probably think of a few people that would qualify for Can you
anything
think of
goes here. Anything
was there
goes.
anything that stands out at the top of the list when I ask, of some of the workshops that have been held in Tulum that you've sent my way?
I think that's probably the best one, the one that you've just mentioned. And they do like naked retreats, naked yoga, probably a bit of flagellation with some palm tree leaves. There's lots of they do a lot of the Japanese art thing, tying yourself up, a lot of tying knots, and I can't remember what it's called. They do a lot of that down here, the art of sexual knotting. I don't know.
Well,
anyway,
there you go.
not my
Shades
I
of
don't
Mexico.
pay a lot of attention. But whatever you need to find yourself, someone will supply it here. Basically, that's what it's down to. You come to this part of Mexico to find yourself and to deal with yourself. And some people come here and they can't do it and they go right home. The energy here is very deal with your shit.
So there you go. That's Amanda's pitch from the Mexican tourist board. In fact, I
they
think
should be
maybe
paying me. I should be.
They should be. You should be on a cut. Should be on a commission. On a commission. Well, I've just noticed the time. I mean, time does fly when you're having fun. We definitely
it does. And I have a client that I was supposed to serve about 4 minutes ago.
About 4 minutes ago. So we're probably going to wrap this up. Unless any of you got any final comments for the last minute, we're going to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for so many Jedis for showing up.
Yes, Jedi Central. Nice to meet you.
Jedi Central have turned up today for this little stream. It's always wonderful to have you all join in and to be so active on the chats. You know how I feel about this. These streams are done to be interactive, and you've all been fantastic getting involved with your unfiltered comments as well. Especially you all, Tug. Always love your comments, fella. It's always good to hear from you and to get your random insights and fun insights, stuff that is on the cusp of acceptable, which is what we like. That's certainly what I like. It makes it fun, a bit of controversy. That's what we're all about. And we co-create.
Shining the light on nonsense. Shining the light on nonsense. There we go.
Do shine the light on nonsense. You have to speak out and you have to be authentic to your emotions as well, my Jedi friends. We love, but sometimes you've got to go to the opposite in order to get it. We have to traverse the polarities of it all. Tammy's jumped in again. Look, thank you for keeping it real as always. Always good to have you on board, Tammy. Thanks for joining in. New Yoda, thank you, Adam, Amanda, and chat members. Always interesting. Thank you for all coming along and deal with her client, and she's going to have to apologize to being late for. And Tammy says, and there is a way to connect, to contact Amanda. Yes, I think, did I put her details in? I'll put her details in the chat anyway, or get Amanda to put a comment in. We will put it there, but get on her channel, which is linked here, which is Align You TV. Follow her, subscribe to her, do her a favor. Do a Jedi a favor, my Jedi friends. If you've watched to the end of here, Align You TV is where you need to be. Look her up, join the journey. She does frequent live streams as well. So thank you all for joining in. It has been a lot of fun. I absolutely highly recommend Amanda. She is my go-to person when I need somebody sensible, because I'm definitely not that person.
Yeah, I try and learn the opposite from Adam in terms of story. I love his storytelling. Just on that channel, just really quickly on my channel as well, for any of you that are experiencing trauma, I've got a load of meditations, free ones on there as well, that will help you. So just jump in and use any of those. And I have an app as well, which is also on the page. So if you're going through like tougher times, there's a lot of meditations that will just help lift you up a little bit. And I infuse all of them with energy like Adam. So go check it out and get your vibe up. I highly recommend, more than anything, if you just focus on getting your vibration up, your world does shift and people are a lot nicer to you. And the one thing I can tell you is the more I go up, I seem to be dealing with generally with less narcissists.
Absolutely. Well, Amanda, thanks for joining us.
I've got to run, people. Go
Absolutely.
my client Caroline.
We got to go, folks. You enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.